Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee. I call this meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Okay, Dr. Bofi. Dr. Bofi is present. Mr. Castile.
Here.
Mr. Castile is present. Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis is not present. Ms. Ellis. Ms. Ellis is not present. Mr. Garvey.
Here.
Mr. Garvey is present. Ms. Holloway.
Here.
Ms. Holloway is present. Ms. Melreen.
Here.
Ms. Melreen is present. Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Morris is present. Ms. Orange Jones. Ms. Orange Jones is not present. Mr. Rock. Mr. Rock is present. Ms. Goche. Ms. Goche is not present. And Ms. Rocco. Mrs. Rocco is present.
Thank you. First item, please.
Your consent agenda is ready for approval, adding items 5.1 through 5.4.
I have a motion. Mr. Rock, second, Mr. Garvey. Any discussion? Are there any comment cards? None. Any objection? No objection. Motion passes. Next item, please.
Your first item is on page 3, item 3.1, consideration of the annual approval of alternative education programs and alternative education schools in Louisiana. The LDE recommendation is to approve the alternative education programs and schools for the 2022-2023 school year as outlined.
May I have a motion? Ms. Holloway, second by Mr. Garvey. Anything from the department?
Yeah, Mr. Mellering, those schools are, and the programs are in your report.
Any questions or comments from the board? Any public comments? Any objections to the motion? No objection, motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 11, item 3.2, consideration of an update report regarding Louisiana Social Studies Content Standards Implementation Timeline. The LDE recommendation is to receive the report regarding the 2022 Louisiana Social Studies Content Standards.
May I have a motion? Mr. Rock, second, Ms. Holloway. Anything further?
Yes, sir. At the last meeting of the board, we approved a new set of social studies standards for our students in K-12. At that time, the board requested additional information on what an implementation timeline and reports might look like. So we're just coming back to you today to get some additional information around this. It is something that is fluid, and I'm sure that we'll have various shifts along the way as needed. But this will be basically a general outline of where we are in terms of implementation and some of the additional supports that will be provided to teachers along the way. Chasson will make this presentation.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Jenna Chasson, Department of Education. Happy to present to you all an update on our Louisiana Standards for Social Studies. As Dr. Bromley just mentioned, these were approved at the board meeting last month, and so as requested today, I will give a more in-depth update on the timeline for implementation and the resources we plan on providing to educators. So we'll begin with our timeline. The 2022-2023 school year will be a learning year. The final administration of the LEAP 2025 Social Studies Assessment for grades 3 through 8, aligned to the 2011 standards, will be in the spring of 2023. The 2023-24 school year will be an assessment transition year with a field test only. A fully operational 2022 standards aligned assessment will be administered in the 2024-2025 school year for grades 3 through 8. Transition guidance for high school civics and U.S. history assessments will be based on freshman cohorts, and more information regarding that high school assessment transition will be released in the future. The 2022-2023 school year will be a learning year. The 2022 Teacher Leader Summit will be our kickoff event that we are all looking forward to for implementation of the 2022 Louisiana Student Standards for Social Studies. Attendees at the sessions will be able to explore the first unit of course frameworks and instructional frameworks and practice incorporating these resources into future classroom lessons. Department-created webinars will also be available for those who are not able to attend the Teacher Leader Summit, starting in the summer of 2022. Topics of these webinars will include reading the new standards, pacing guidance, and transition guidance for the first year of implementation, including how to fill any gaps in knowledge caused by the transition, and building content knowledge in world history for grades 4 and 5. Review of the social studies material for the 22-23 cycle will begin in October of 2022. Course frameworks for grades 3 through 8 and high school U.S. history and civics will be released in December of 2022. So we'll take a dive into some of these resources that I just referred to in the timeline to get a better picture of what those resources include. The first of which are crosswalks. In order to support school systems as they transition to the new standards, the department will provide these crosswalks that compare the 2011 standards and the 2022 standards and show the similarities in skills and content. We also realize that there is a need for transition plans and some of the content is changing. In addition to the crosswalks, these transition plans for the 23-24 school year, the first year of standards implementation for grades 3 through 8 and high school civics will be created by the department. The transition plans will identify the most critical gaps in content knowledge, where in the course we recommend these gaps be addressed, and suggested resources for doing so. The transition plans will be released this summer. The course framework documents that I referred to earlier will provide overviews of each of the major topics covered in the course and the relevant standards for these topics. They will also point teachers towards resources they can use to build their own content knowledge. Finally, and most importantly, the framework will provide suggested framing and supporting questions along with a variety of sources like primary and secondary text, maps, images, video, audio that teachers can use when planning for classroom instruction. Unit 1 for grades 3 through 8 and high school civics and U.S. history courses will be released at the 2022 Teacher Leader Summit, with the remaining units released by the end of December 2022. We're also creating a bank of instructional strategies one-pagers that will provide guidance and resources to help teachers implement highly effective instructional strategies in social studies classrooms. Some examples of the topics are read aloud and student-led discussions. Teachers can use these instructional strategies in conjunction with the course frameworks to craft their aligned lessons. A bank of these instructional strategies will be released by December of 2022. I also know there's a lot of interest in social studies curriculum and the curriculum alignment, review, and implementation timeline. So here's just a closer look at our instructional materials review process and how this will proceed around the new standards. Beginning in March of 2021, so back last year, publishers received communication from us regarding the Social Studies Standards Revision Project and the plan for the Social Studies Instructional Materials Review process. During each quarterly publisher call, the department provided updated information and a tentative instructional materials review timeline for social studies materials. The information was emphasized as tentative as the final timeline, of course, was dependent on BESI approval of the standards. In June of this year, the standards will be officially released to the field. At this time, publishers will receive an invitation to submit kindergarten through 12th grade social studies instructional materials for review. And the IMR rubric will be created, released to publishers for feedback, finalized, and then released to the field. In order to finalize submissions, publishers with current social studies submissions will complete and submit an evaluation rubric for each course and grade level for review using the K-12 Social Studies IMR rubric. If publishers determine that their materials do not meet the rubric criteria upon self-evaluation, they will have the option to withdraw their submission. The publisher's submission will not be complete until the completed rubric is submitted. Social studies submissions will be accepted year-round, regardless of the submission window. During the month of August, our teacher leader advisors will be trained on evaluating the materials with the new rubric. Then in October, the review of social studies instructional materials will begin. and materials will be reviewed in the order that submissions are completed. As with any content area, the publisher will submit their materials using our online submission form by following the step-by-step procedure that's outlined in the Publisher's Guide to IMR Submission. You can see each of the phases that take place throughout the IMR process. And once a submission has been evaluated by our review team of teacher leader advisors, the review is emailed to the publisher as a part of phase 2, in which we provide the publisher the opportunity to respond to the results. Publishers, depending on the rating, can then make a choice whether to confirm receipt and move forward with publishing, or they can also choose to give us a response to the review. So that is a high-level overview of our social studies IMR process, but to summarize, we have made the call to publishers. They'll officially get invitations in June around the new standards that will then be open to the field. They will begin preparing their materials, submitting in the fall. Our teacher leader advisors will work as soon as they come in to review those materials so that we can publish those ratings. We are hopeful that if we would receive materials this fall from publishers, that those would be completed by the spring so that we could release results of those ratings for those materials. This would then give school systems enough time to make their selections and purchases for the year of implementation.
Thank you, Doctor. Any questions from the board? Any public comment? All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please. Thank you, Doctor.
Your next item is on page 18, item 4.1, consideration of the authorization of course choice providers for Jumpstart Summers program for 2022. LD recommendation is to approve Claiborne Parish School System and New Harmony High School as course choice providers for the Jumpstart Summers program beginning with summer 2022.
So moved.
Dr. Bovee, second by Mr. Garvey. Any presentation? I don't see any public comment. Any objection, comment? I'm sorry. Mr. Gordon Ford, sorry about that.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. Gordon Ford, Lincoln Preparatory School. Just wanted to come down quickly and thank you for renewal or consideration of renewal of the Jumpstart program. It's been a very important program for us at Lincoln Prep, as shown in your documentation. During the summer, we certified students in oil and gas production, customer service, and culinary operations. The funding you provided paid for both instruction as well as paid internships for those students. And this year, there's going to be another added twist to the program, as Lincoln Prep has secured a TAPS grant. TAPS stands for Teen and Police Service Academy, and it is a partnership between local police and our school and community that helps to orient kids to police operations and build relationships between teenagers and police officers. And so that will be incorporated. They will get 2 hours a week of that along with their regular instruction. And this instruction is very important. This opportunity in summer is very important for some particular groups of students. Those students that have high demand electives such as band or cheer or sports, along with students who have to take additional academic courses during the school year. This gives us an opportunity to provide them certification courses in the summer that they normally would not have access to in the school year. So again, I just wanted to come and share that with you, and thank you again for consideration of your reauthorization of this important program.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. I believe those are all the comments on this item. Ms. Moore.
I just have a question. I was proxy yesterday at the teacher recruitment and retention work group for Ms. Holloway, and one of my takeaways, if I got it correctly, was that the teacher educator pathway is been approved for internship. Just wanted to see if I got that right, to and from.
Ms. Cooper, you want to come up on this particular item?
Good morning. Are you referring to the conversation we're talking about with the apprenticeship? So that is something, one of the members of the task force mentioned that Tennessee was doing. We're looking into that, but that's not something we're currently implementing as Tennessee is.
So it's not in place today, but it's a work in progress?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion on the floor. Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item.
Your next item is on page 33, item 4.2, consideration of updates regarding current course choice jumpstart providers. The LDE recommendation is to approve the reauthorization of the course choice jumpstart summers providers as outlined, and receive the status report regarding course choice jumpstart summers providers completing the second of a 3-year authorization period as outlined.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Bophy, second by Mr. Darby. Your presentation. And Mr. Ford, I apologize, we took you out of order.
Yes, sir.
So, sorry about that. I don't see any other public comments on this one. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item.
Your next item is on page 48, item 4.3, consideration of renewal of state certified world language immersion schools. The LDE recommendation is to approve the 3-year renewal of the state certified world language immersion schools beginning with the 2022-2023 school year as outlined.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please? Holloway, second by Dr. Darby. Superintendent Brumley.
Ms. Sharon Cage will give a presentation around this particular program, as well as make some introductions around some of the schools that are being renewed today.
Thank you. Sharon Lee Hayes, Deputy Assistant Superintendent of Academic Content. Today we're here to recognize these schools in the renewal of their state certified world language programs for immersion schools. Dr. Chesson will be passing out the certificates. Representatives of the schools can each please step up to receive their certificates. The first school we'd like to recognize is Audubon Charter School, their lower campus. As well as Audubon Charter School, their upper campus. Baton Rouge Foreign Language Academic Immersion Magnet. Lafayette High School. Lycée Français de la Nouvelle-Orléans. Lower campus. Lycée Français de la Nouvelle-Orléans upper campus. Mamou Elementary School. Prairie Elementary School. And Westfield Middle School.
Mr. Mallory, and as we wrap up the photographs here, just want to mention that schools have the opportunity to apply for this designation. It's a process that involves a number of questionnaires, site visits based on a rubric, and other requirements of schools in order to gain this particular designation. And these are some of the schools that are being renewed. And I believe you probably have public comment cards for some of the schools to tell a little bit more about some of the work that they do at their school.
I do. At this time, we're going to start calling for public comment. Y'all can just make your way down. I'll call a few at a time. That way, if you don't mind, come and sit down and we can kind of have you on deck. First up is Ms. Danielle, and I apologize. Bouchard.
Your French is hard.
And the next would be Christine Marche. And also if Mr. Andrew Pizzo can come down as well.
Good morning, my name is Danielle Duffichard, the lycée français de Nouvelle-Orléans. I just want to say on behalf of our students and staff at lycée français de Nouvelle-Orléans, I would like to say thank you to the board, to the chair, superintendent for recognizing not only our school, but other schools for this state certified world language immersion as an immersion school. Lycée Français de Nouvelle-Orléans is a pre-K 4 through 11th grade school. It is accredited up until the 10th grade. We are the only and will be first public accredited school within the United States. Just some benefits of bilingualism if you don't know. One is that it develops our students' cognitive abilities. They're able to demonstrate an increased in not only interest, but problem-solving skills. And it also enhances their first language. I again want to say thank you for the work that you do and supporting immersion schools throughout Louisiana. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
You may have to hit the, there you go.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Christine Merchant. I'm working as the World Language Coordinator for the East Baton Rouge District. And I wanted to thank you for recognizing two of our wonderful schools here in the parish. Flame, who is an immersion school in French, in Spanish, and in Mandarin. We have 5 different tracks, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm strongly inviting all the members here to come and see the incredible thing happening in those schools, where math, science, and social studies are being taught in a target language. It's pretty amazing, especially in the Mandarin class. You'll be blown away to see those little kindergarten kids just learning math, everything in Mandarin. You know, I speak French and Spanish, so, okay, but Mandarin, that's another ball game. Then I would like to recognize Westdale Middle School, who is the articulation school who receive our little Flame students and who does an amazing job. I want to thank all the administrative staff, principal, and teacher who work so hard and who are a main and indispensable part of that amazing and successful program. If I had a request, I don't know if that can be done, but I wish those programs could be duplicated, because in the world that we are living in that global world, I think it's indispensable to speak more than one language. In our economy, everything, I mean, I cannot even imagine not speaking more than English. And I know English is spread all over. But I think I will strongly invite you to try to duplicate or help us to duplicate those programs, not only in East Baton Rouge, but in Louisiana and throughout the United States. So without any further delay, I want to say merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, Cheche, and thank you for your time and attention. Merci.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Pizzo. I'm the assistant principal at Westdale Middle School here in East Baton Rouge Parish. And on behalf of my principal, Ms. Hillary Greer, just wanted to make 3 points about our immersion program very quickly. We work to creating traditionally and academically bilingual students that are not just conversational in their bilingualism. We want to create lifelong opportunities as they become bilingual citizens. We will create job opportunities for them and potentially international careers. And we'll create a tolerance and respect for these other cultures that they will interact with. We truly appreciate everything that the board has done in reaffirming this program. And as we say in Louisiana, laissez le bon temps rouler. We hope to see you at Westdale Middle School right down the street at some point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 4 more comments. Y'all can make your way down. Lyle Alford, Tia LeBrun, Patricia McBride, and okay.
Mr. Mellor, and while they're doing that, I just would like to share that I did my student teaching at Westdale Middle School.
Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison.
Je connais le programme à Westdale. Je recommande le programme à Westdale parce que Madame Greer.
Excellent. Yes. See.
Mr. Alford, you don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lyle Alford. Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour tout le monde. On behalf of Longwood Elementary, I would like to extend a grand merci to the Louisiana Board of Education for the recertification of our school. Recertification provides the students of the Valenzuelan Parish a reminder of the hard work that they put in every day does in fact pay off. Personally, I would like to say thank you to my administrators, Troy Fontenot, Rebecca Fontenot, Mike Lombas, and Darwin Lazard. I'd also like to say thank you to my coworkers that work so hard for the students every day. I would also like to say thank you to Codeville for supporting the students of Louisiana, but providing such great opportunities to learn inside and outside the classroom. And thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tia LeBrun.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am really proud to be able to support all of the world language programs throughout Lafayette Parish, and you are also welcome to come and see us there. Washiwan, Shieshe Niman. Things I'd like to thank you all. I'm learning Mandarin, so I had to one-up Christine. But really, this certification process is important to us as educators and as parents. I have kids who are going through the immersion program, and just having a program and saying it's immersion isn't the same thing as proving it. So thank you for approving this process and providing us with a way to recruit talented teachers to come in and help us. And as for the duplication, I sincerely agree that this program should be spread and offered to as many children as possible because of the academic benefits. I believe that we as a state would grow tremendously in achievement level if it were more widespread. However, the cap on J1 visas is somewhat problematic as other people get interested in the programs. So maybe Michelle Bro can give you more information on that later. But thank you so much for having us here and recognizing us publicly for all the work we do. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. McBride?
Good morning, Tricia McBride, the principal of Baton Rouge Flame. And I also want to duplicate on with my former, previous speakers in all of the benefits of dual language and immersion language, especially in bilingualism. And what I want to tell you is that in our program, now we're K through 5, and we started off many years ago with one French and one Spanish track. And the school had about 220-something children. We've now grown to a school of over 500 children. We have 2 tracks of Spanish, 2 tracks of French, and 2 tracks of Mandarin at every grade level. And we are looking to grow more. And so I do appreciate the board and the DOE giving us this opportunity to continue to grow. And that certification process also makes you look at yourself. It really makes you say, yes, this is what we're doing, and this is what we want to continue to do, and this is what we need to grow further. So I want to say a special thanks also to my staff, my assistant principal, my magnet site coordinator here, and to all of our teachers who come from all over the world and offer us such a unique, diverse look at the world and provides our children and our parents a wonderful experience in our school. So yes, come and see us anytime. Thank you.
And, okay.
Hello. Okay. Morning. My name is Moke Ernest. I come from Africa, Ivory Coast, and I'm here since 2020. I'm happy to be there, and I'm a math teacher in West Day Middle School. I would like to thank you because learn a new language is very difficult, and we need some teacher to around the world. For example, I start to learn English at 12, but you can see I'm not very good. I try to do my best. So it's very important for the students to know there are many languages in the world, and they need to learn with some new teacher and some good teacher. I don't want to say I'm a good teacher, but I try to be a better teacher every year. So thank you for all you're doing. I don't know, but I'm happy to be there, and I hope I will stay here since the next years and maybe next years again. Thank you.
Thank y'all. I just want to say I truly appreciate everything y'all do. Louisiana, as everybody knows, is a little bit unique in the United States, and one of those things that makes us unique is our French heritage. So language immersion is a way to keep us tied to that past going forward. Thank y'all for everything. Any other comments from the board? None. Need a motion? Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 63, item 6.1, consideration of revisions to bulletins regarding top university diploma requirements. The LDE recommendation is to approve as a notice of intent revisions to bulletin 741 and 741 non-public.
May I have a motion? Mr. Garvey, second by Ms. Holloway.
Yes, sir. This is in response to some of the requests that have been coming from school systems for some time. It just simply adds dual enrollment in psychology as one of the options in the social studies category as an elective opportunity, and we recommend its approval.
Any questions or comments from the board? I don't see any public comment cards. Any objection? No objection, motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 66, item 6.2, consideration of bulletin revisions regarding the membership and function of advisory councils, including the Accountability Commission, to establish and align advisory councils and vesting policy. The recommendation is to approve as a notice of intent revisions to bulletins 106, 111, 140, 741, and vesting code, and approve as a declaration of emergency revisions to bulletin 111 as outlined.
Motion by Mr. Garvey, second by Mr. Rock. Is there a presentation?
Ms. Davis, are you speaking on 6.2?
definitely speak to it. Shan Davis, Executive Director for Bessie. This item came out of a deferred item that was deferred twice for consideration of the makeup of the Accountability Commission. And once we dived in, we found that the Accountability Commission was not anywhere in statute or in policy. So that is why we're bringing you the commission, and now going to be called the council, as an emergency rule so that we can get them codified in policy in order to have future meetings and have ground rules for that. Then I worked with the department also to codify other councils that are, I think all of those are in statute, but typically if they're in statute and they're long-term serving councils, we put those in policy as well. So we have several that we're bringing in addition to the Accountability Council. Nothing has changed in that makeup of the council from what it was previously, which is putting it in policy. And then also using the same operational rules that we use in our Bessie code for our advisory councils that the Bessie staffs.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Any questions from the board for Ms. Davis? Ruth Ann O'Keefe-Ross, Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, and Jefferson Ready Start Network, who wishes to speak, come down. Please introduce yourself for the record. Thank you.
One more thing. Is that working now? Thank you so much. My name is Ruth Ann O'Keefe-Ross. I'm the Policy Director for the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, and I'm also here on behalf of the Jefferson Ready Start Network. Charmaine Cassiope is the chair of that, wasn't able to attend because she's over at the Capitol within their bill. So on behalf of the Policy Institute for Children, I just want to thank the department for their work on this issue and the flexible framework that they've come up with that recognizes the good work that Ready Start Networks are doing and also leaves room for future evolution and growth. On behalf of the Jefferson Ready Start Network, I just wanted to say, this is Charmaine's words, so I apologize. The Jefferson Ready Start Network is a coalition of thought partners committed to creating and implementing a bold local vision for early care and education, driven by our community's need to improve opportunities and inspire change for children from birth to 5. Since the network's official launch in the fall of 2019, we have had a robust group of community leaders working toward our vision, where all children birth to 5 in Jefferson Parish have access to high-quality early childhood experiences that will prepare them to succeed. In Jefferson Parish, there are 28,000 children from birth to age 5. Approximately 21,000 of those young children live in economically disadvantaged.
I think it's on finance. There's different revisions to 140.
Yeah, and so,
sorry.
no, you're fine.
No, it's okay.
140 is coming up again at 6.4. I think that's the one.
I can, yes, definitely.
You can continue to talk.
And I
don't want to cut you off, or we can, if you want to stop when 6.4 comes up.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comment or questions? From the board, motion on the floor, any objection? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 83, item 6.3, consideration of an update report and revisions to the Louisiana Administrative Code, Title 28, the Bessie Code, regarding LEA student transfer request appeals. The recommendation is to approve as a notice of intent revisions to Bessie Code. An updated exec rec has been distributed.
May I have a motion, please? Mr. Garvey, Dr. Davis. Second. Superintendent Brumman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Melvin. Just one comment. You have received an updated copy. The original that you had was as of April 2nd. Systems who have submitted their policy on this transfer. You have provided to you a copy as of April 11th. So as you can see, many additional systems have since submitted their policy.
Mr. Garvey.
Question for the superintendent. If someone wants to see what a particular parish's policy is what they submitted, is it on the department's website, or would they have to make a request to the department asking for a copy?
We have the information, we're happy to share it as needed. We've just simply been collecting them at this point.
So someone would have to make a request, it's not on the website, it's not published?
It is not published at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to work with you on any additional ideas around that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Mr. Morris?
This is the first time that we'll go through this exercise as a board. I was wondering if Ms. Davis could just share with us a little bit, what we could expect with regard to the process.
So actually, we've already gotten some inquiry last week, or a couple of weeks ago, so I'll give you an example. I think that would be better. Ms. Holloway received a constituent request from a parish where she spoke to me and said that she had missed the deadline for the transfer appeals in her district and wanted to see what her options were. She wasn't necessarily referencing the Bessie appeals process, but she wanted to check on it. And so we at that time didn't have that particular district's policy on file with the department, so I Googled it, hoping that I could pull up the correct policy, and I did pull up the policy. And what I saw was that the district had a deadline to request an appeal of the 14th of March. Well, in comparison with the law, the deadline should be the 28th of March for those appeal requests. So I informed the parent to reach back out to the district, share with them the statute as compared to the law, share with them your concerns. This is not in any way a directive from Bessie, but just point them in that direction. And so she reached out to them, and they were further able to assist her with her transfer. But that also prompted me to include in this policy that a missed deadline is not a means by which someone could appeal. So we don't want someone to miss a deadline in their district and say, oh, well, now I've decided I'm going to go to Bessie, or not, move swiftly in the actual application the first time, knowing that they can come through us. So what I envision is, I envision continuing to do what I did with this individual, is try to reconcile if there's any policy issues that weren't implemented in line with the law, see if there's anything we could do administratively, which is why I put that in our code. And then if there's nothing, like that, I would go to the officers, show them what the current policy in that district is, and then get a recommendation from them to bring to the board at its next meeting. And then also any application that I'm able to handle administratively, I would also put into a report to you all to let you know, hey, we got this request, this one was handled, so it's not necessarily being done without the full board's understanding of the resolution.
So the Bessie officer will provide the full board with a recommendation for each individual appeal?
Yes, so that we're not wasting time meeting and talking about the policy itself. We have some summary provided to you all when we come to the meeting.
Any other questions from the board? Any objection to the motion? Objection, motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 86, item 6.4, consideration of revisions to Bulletin 140, Louisiana Early Childhood Care and Education Network regarding Ready Start Networks. The LDE recommendation is to approve as a notice of intent revisions to Bulletin 140.
May I have a motion? Mrs. Garvey? Dr. Davis, second.
Mr. Mallory. This is also a moment for somewhat of a celebration for this board. This is a body of work that has moved for some time to establish these networks within local communities so that there's one unifying group of individuals working to increase quality early care and education in communities. Ms. Garvey, I believe you're on the Jefferson Network. And so this is good work happening in parishes throughout the state of Louisiana. And so what today is about is taking this work from pilot status, which is where it has lived over the last few years, and codifying it into policy. And so it's a really important day for us in terms of early care and education with being able to do this officially. A lot of work has gone into this with individuals in these networks, with individuals who are stakeholders for this body of work. And so it's an important day, as I believe Ms. Ruth Ann Oaken-Frost shared earlier, that she is from the Policy Institute. She's very supportive of this work. And I think, again, it's just a moment to recognize that a lot of work is happening around early care and education, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and now this is an opportunity to codify this and continue to move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Ms. Oaken-Frost, would you like to come back?
Yeah, I was confused before. I was like, I thought there'd be more discussion on that item, but I won't go through all of that again. But the rest of Charmaine's comment about Jefferson Ready Start Network, which is one of the older Ready Starts in the state. We have partnered with the Jefferson Community Foundation to launch a local fundraising campaign to increase local contributions for early care and education. Through this initiative, we have also partnered with the Jefferson Chamber, the Jefferson Business Council, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and JEDCO, just to name a few partnering organizations. As you are aware, early care and education is not just an education or a family issue, it is a workforce issue, a business issue, and an economic issue. The Jefferson Ready Start Network is well positioned to increase access to high quality early care and education through community outreach and education, and expanded partnership to drive increased local investment in early care and education. And I just want to appreciate this opportunity to speak again and urge your support of this revision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? We have a motion. Any objection to the motion? No objection. Motion passes. Next item.
That concludes the agenda.
Do you adjourn?
I gotta switch.